I believe this is the place where I'm supposed to say nyan.
Cheese.
Yep, definitely is. Hi! Welcome!
Kaiser!
Hi! Welcome, Chaos! And welcome, Chaos! Welcome, Chaos again.
Cheese.
Hi, Nympheus, how are you doing? Thank you very much for the resub. How's it been 8 months already, Nymph? It really doesn't feel like 8 months. What on earth. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate it. I'm sorry that time is scamming you like this. Thank you. I super appreciate it. Welcome. Why cheese, everybody? Who knows? Anyway.
Well, I guess I'm evil. Why am I evil, Stu? What the? Wait, Stu? You keep welcoming the chaos. Ah, I see. Welcome, my chaos. Also, hi. Welcome, Psych. Welcome, Tai. Welcome, Sit. Welcome, Umi. Nick. And Juice. And Nymph. And Chaos. And Mer. And yeah, and Craze. Okay, I think that's everybody whose names I can butcher. Wait, no, there's one more. Hello, Win. Hi, there we are. I think every name has now been butchered thoroughly. Hi, Wanda.
Man, whoa, that looked really cool when the evil routine was wearing off while I was censored. I can't believe there are still, like, combinations of emotes, or of redeems and enabling and disabling and things that I still, like, they're still fresh and new and I haven't seen them before. Perhaps it's just that my memory's crap. Who knows? Hi! Welcome, Window Boy. Hope you're doing alright.
Cheese.
Okay, I guess I deserve that one for butchering all the names. Hey, by the way, listen to this.
Cheese.
Apart from the cheese slaps, you can't hear anything, right? Because I finally got a new chair. Yay! We don't have the creaking anymore.
Cheese.
And the struggling to move the chair around. What is this? It's nothing. The beautiful sound of silence. Imagine a chair that doesn't make noises. That's what I was imagining for the past, like, 2 years. I don't know. Hi, welcome, White Cheese. Hi, City. Again, listen to this, starts wildly flailing about. Yeah, and then my bell made noise and betrayed me. I guess I could do this. Wait, right as Lucky Bear Thing sprays me, I mute all sounds and, like... Wait. I can actually... Hang on. Let me do the thing where I undo the noise gate and everything. Hold on, stop. Silence! No cheesing. Okay, I'm stopping music. Okay. There we are, you can hear the background sound now, listen. Impromptu ASMR stream. Do you hear that? That's it rolling on the wheels! I'm moving around and it's quiet! What the hell? Amazing. It can move as well. The other one was like not even able to move much. I also have to nyan. Okay, hold on. Nyan. There you are.
Cheese.
Was my nyan not up to scratch? Jeez, up to snuff. What's the word? Snuffy something. If the chair doesn't make noise, how do you know it's working? All right, I have to add all the beep boop noises like in the Hollywoods for the computers, right? That was like a thing at the very beginning, but now for some reason, like the people in charge of making films don't have the memo that actually we don't have like a speaker output tied to like RAM accesses or whatever it was originally to let you know computers were working. It's been a little while since that was the case. Mechanical bells, hell yeah. What was that? What was the name of the person whose channel? Something about Denki. Meaning electric. Or electricity. Not many people know that the bell on the model is a lie. The actual bell... Usagi Electric, yeah, that's the one. Oh, sorry. I accidentally made the... That's funny. I accidentally made the English part Japanese and then I forgot the Japanese part. I should start calling him Denki Rabbit from now on. Mechanical bells, yes. Not many people know that the bell on the model is a lie. The actual bell we're hearing is the one that UK is wearing IRL. I mean, occasionally. Hand! Oh my god. Yeah, I'll just move my head for God's sake, it's easier. Bell tracking the solutions behind the scenes. BTS. Only 23 degrees at the start of stream? Hell yeah! Hi! This chair can really move. Well, it's kind of me sort of like swaying side to side on the chair mostly, but that used to make the chair go like and stuff. And while I wasn't wearing a chair. While I was rolling around on the chair, wait, I haven't even put the noise gate back on. Oh yeah, I have. While I was while I was sitting on the chair, not even moving, just sitting, doing stuff, like literally just sitting at my desk, not even rearranging myself, not even having cheese thrown at me. It just suddenly went like and like sort of kind of collapsed. The piston went down because I think it went down because like some part of the mechanism collapsed and started pressing on, you know, the thing that you're meant to press to make the chair go down, and the back like collapsed fully, and it's like, well, okay, the chair literally just kind of fell on me. It didn't fall apart, but it fell. Anyway. But yeah, I hope you can get a new chair before that happens, if that happens to you, Chaos. Or, you know. I guess there are many different failure modes of chairs. It gave up to bits. True. Alright, let's chill a little bit. Music. Hello everybody. Hi. Sorry, it's been a little while since is this the first stream I've done since I got the new chair, which was like last week. It was meant to be near the beginning of last week, but Amazon! Yay! Number of good experience. Oh, I remember ranting about Amazon on stream, but I don't know if it actually arrived at that point. I think the broken one arrived, right? And then they said they're taking it back the next day. Guess what? They didn't! Anyway, and they did take it back eventually, but not when they said they would. Carry a temperature graph at the end of stream. Oh, that'd be kind of neat, wouldn't it? Yeah, I could easily just be like dumping a line to a CSV file or something every time it gets a new update of the time. That's like, that part's easy. And I just have to like not be lazy and just slap it onto like OpenOffice or something, LibreOffice, and look at that line graph at the end. That'd be kind of neat.
Cheese?
But this is not meant to be a dev stream. I mean, it maybe slightly is, but not for the Unity stuff. Physics. Wait, tracking? Is that like chair cracking? Yuki's extremely temperature stonks report. Whoa!
8 months, and this might be the first time I've done this.
Cheese.
The cheese? Oh no. Oh no. Well, welcome to your cheese christening. The christening. Which is how it's already spelled, actually, now I think about it. Welcome, thank you very much for the resub. Hi, Tenor. Hope you're doing alright. Welcome in. Please take a seat, or stand, or like, or do whatever you want. Lie down. Tracking was in response to the hand tracking working very cromulently. Cromulent. Reminds me of the old, this line from The Simpsons. I was free to wallow in my own crapulence. Oh, I just realized I don't have the logo set up. Hold on. I don't know what it should be, actually. What should it even be? Who knows? Do I have an Arduino logo? I probably do, right? I do, but I don't know if I should show this or not. Is it really Arduino stuff? It's not really. I don't know what it is. Is it C stuff? It's a little bit of C stuff. I don't know what it is. How about we just have no logo today? I'm going logoless. Line go up. Oh no, I don't have to see that. Oh well, I don't mind if she sees it. I don't have to feel it. Unless she's like comfy.
Tamagotchi.
Tamagotchi, yes. Gotcha. I think maybe crapulence and cromulence are different. Are they? What is cromulence? I didn't know cromulence was a negative thing, is it? Cromulence. Assume I'm spelling it correctly. Acceptability. Correctness. Okay. Yeah. I didn't think it was negative. So cromulence is good. Yeah. It's a perfectly cromulent word. Wait, the hand tracking was working? So it's working uncromulently. Could you say it was working cromulously? I don't think you could. Prominent was invented by The Simpsons. What? Really? Humorous and uncommon. I don't know. It doesn't have anything about origin in the Wiktionary page. Hi, Pass. Welcome, welcome. It's prominent and ironic. I guess sarcastic. Okay, I'm pressing a button now. Boop. I've been waffling for too long. My waffle timer just timed out mid-sentence, and I realized, what am I doing? I can only be streaming for like another 1.5 hours because. Hang on, I have to actually do this. I hope she's not watching when I do this because she was getting stressed about it yesterday and I don't want to make her more stressed. However, in approximately 1 hour and 40 minutes, no, I can't. In approximately 1 hour and 40 minutes, this cutie, ta-da, will be streaming, and she's like, hang on, I have to give pants because look at them. Anyway, the avatar doesn't actually look much like this, but and it will look even less like it in 1 hour and 40 minutes because she's gonna be showing off a brand new avatar and stuff. So it's pretty cool. And it's like a birthday party stream and stuff. And I've been invited and stuff. So that's I'm gonna slide over there and I'm gonna hang out there. That's why my stream needs to be shorter. And also, she's gonna be showing off like a brand new intro screen, like starting soon screen, and it's gonna be the music that I made for her for the starting soon screen. I think she said she was making an animation to go like along with it in the starting soon screen, so I'm really curious to see what the animation is like going along with the music, you know? So I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's the first time I get to see like my music like in like with an animation made for it. Okay. Something.com/dictionary/prominent #word history. Okay. I'm gonna believe you. Well, it really depends what the star.com was, doesn't it? If it was incorrect, if it was like fakefacts.com/dictionary, I might not believe it, but I'm assuming that it's not that, so. Merriam-Webster, okay. I don't know if that website exists, but surely it does. It's not gonna be like one random domain squatted thing, isn't it? It's not even gonna be a real website. You just know. Thank you for the hydro. Oh wait, I didn't do your first one, Stu. I didn't do your first one. Okay, I'm gonna do 2. Sorry, it was tight. Woo! Got a little steam coming out of that. Now I'll stretch. I can actually. This chair pushes back. Look, this chair pushes really far back. I'm still not used to it, and I keep thinking that I'm gonna fall over backwards, but I think I actually can't I can't easily because my legs would just hit the underneath of the desk and that would stop me. And now, well, that's an interesting noise. And now, it's time for the second hydration. Careless stretching? Oh! Did it make a noise in the past when I stretched? I guess it must have. I never really noticed. There you go. I've done 2. I'm extra stretchy. The shrugging stew. What? Also, why am I? What have I done that's holy and why am I retro all of a sudden? What is this? Okay, so. Let me load up one more thing actually. Where is it? There it is. Have a nice. Thank you. Hi, Stu. I might do a small amount of circuit design. Wait! I'm not allowed to, right? If I'm gonna be selling it, I'm not allowed to design. Well, this is not gonna be a design. This is just a design for me testing something out on a breadboard. This is not the design of the board that I'm gonna be making, so it's fine. Anyway, because I don't have the commercial license for it. Anyway, hi, welcome. Thank you very much for the fire. Jim Dragnarok. That's a pretty cool name. And hi, Richter as well. Greetings from Chile. Wow. Hi. You were gonna say? Just messing around with other combos besides unholy. the retro, the hetero. No, I can't be right. Not on my stream. The Rolly. Anyway, if you don't want to do the battery stuff, you could run this on rechargeable AA. That's true. That's true. That's true. It'd be a little bit annoying though, because the voltage would be like... I'd need to run it on 3 AA's then. Whereas if I'm running it on a lithium-ion battery, I only need 1. Because they tend to be at like 3.7 volts, right? Which is above the 3.3 volts needed for the microcontroller. Whereas the rechargeable, like NIMH batteries are... Well, they're even lower than the 1.5 volt alkaline batteries. But I'd need 3 either way. Like 3 normal alkaline batteries would get you to 4.5 volts, which is above the 3.3 volts. And 3 nickel metal hydride, or NiCad if they still exist, would get you to like the 3.6. Anyway, yeah. I mean, this thing's probably going to be big anyway. 3 batteries will probably be fine. Thank you for the pats, Jockebra. Hi. Welcome. The weird cat is back. It's true. I'm sorry. Don't worry, I'll be gone in an hour and a half, maybe. Okay, so, I have ordered some LCDs for a thing that I want to make, which is like a little long yook Tamagotchi style thing. Maybe it'll be called like Pet Long Yook or Long Yook Park or something. So I haven't even thought of a name of it. I'm still not sure if this is even going to get made, but I said that back when I was wanting to make the MIDI LED display thingy, and yeah, that was a far more huge, physically huge project than this will be, so and that came to fruition, so maybe this will as well, who knows. Shipping with lithium batteries is probably going to be a hassle. Is it? I know that, you know, some there are restrictions based on the total capacity, right? It would be amazing if I could make it like small enough that it could run on low current enough that it could run on like button cell batteries, but I can't. I'm not aiming for that kind of efficiency. I'm not used to making low power stuff. Hi Peter, welcome. Cheese.
Cheese time.
Sit.
Hi, welcome. Hi Alorine as well. My cat is busy sleeping on my leg right now.
Cheese.
Oh my god, that one made me hick. That sounds really cute, Alorine. Nice. Oh baby, a triple? Nope. Only 1 hiccup is what you got out of me. Micro yook? I wish I could make it on this like really low current usage. Hi little dragon streamer, welcome. That's a cute name. So for this project, I'm wanting there to be an LCD. I've already ordered some LCDs, still waiting for them to arrive. Not hugely worried that they've not turned up yet, but yeah. Don't really have much info on when they'll arrive, and I ordered them from a place I've never seen before because they were hard to find. I mean, it was hard to find any small-ish, low-resolution reflective LCDs. Anyway, thank you for the follow, Tellerian, as well. Holy crap. Welcome. Pick with reverb is what I heard. I don't think I said hick with reverb. I'm not sure on the specifics, but I do know of some low volume stuff that's basically shipping batteries is too hard. Find your own 18650s. Oh man. Yeah, and they're not easily findable by like the average general public, are they? Unfortunately, like real life shops don't sell those. I mean, real life, like, you know, in the kind of shops where you'd find random Duracell or Energizer batteries or something. Do they still exist? Those companies. Anyway. So yeah, I want it to be an LCD, and thanks, Vinted. So the LCD, and I started, I'm not sure if I've shown this, yeah, wait, I think I did show this at the end of the last stream. Let me fire up Sprite again. I'll just quickly show. Where's the font? Thing 2, that'll be the one. I'm good at naming things. Here's a bunch of random combinations of eyes and faces and stuff. I don't know if I want this sad one. There probably won't be. Anyway, some things. Maybe it'll be a little something like this. This is the exact size and pixel aspect ratio of the of the LCD, so it'll be something like this. I'm gonna leave space at the top for some text and also some background stuff. Like I want like some trees and things maybe, and you know, something. Maybe some little icons. I want some limited form of interactivity, so I didn't want to fill the entire screen with that. The tiny scales is whatever you just check the customs rules wherever you're sending things. At huge scale, you have processes to set up. Processes? What is wrong with my brain? I can't read today. At huge scale, you have processes set up for each country that you support. In between, it's a lot of customs shenanigans for a lot of orders. Well, I'm going to be on tiny scale. I would be very surprised if as many as 10 people ever bought one of these things. Based on previous merch stuff. I guess making sure the electronics would allow for lower voltages. Batteries that have less voltage than one-time use would be good in that case. Well, yeah, but the thing is, those ones would take a lot less. Yeah, you know, maybe I should just set up for... Maybe I should just allow for ordinary... Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to allow for ordinary alkaline and stuff. And not have a charging circuit as well. That'd be so much easier for me. And it would be, like, easier for people to replace the batteries, you know, because batteries are not going to last forever. And I don't like permanently built-in battery shit, so you know what? Why was I ever even considering making the batteries be built-in? I'm disgusted with myself now that I even think about it, so... Yeah, voltage regulator of sorts. Anyway, for tiny scale, it'll be the... I mean, there's already a voltage regulator for the... built onto the Arduino. Although, yeah, I was going to be sort of making it just a chip and things, so... I would need to make my own voltage regulator. And I don't want it to be a linear regulator, that's for sure. Because that would eat through the batteries in no time. Long yook would be a miniature heater. An MH have 1.2 volts. Yes, the one-time use ones are usually 1.5. Yes. I was exactly just talking about this a moment ago. Unfortunately, wait. Hang on, did I see the follow? From you? Did I say thank you for the follow? Thank you for the follow. I'm sorry, I have no memory right now. Thank you. Welcome in. I'm also a little paranoid that my notifications and redeems and things are gonna not be working, but I don't know. Put a crank on one side? That's a pretty cool idea, actually, but that requires, like, 3D printing and physical, making things in the real world things. Anyway, so, along with the LCD, I thought it'd be cool to finally have a use for a library that I tried out a long time ago for the Arduino called Talkie, which is a decoder for LPC-10 encoded audio. LPC-10 is basically a codec, I guess you could call it. I don't know if it usually is called that, but it's basically what it is. That you encode things for it, and you need to decode it, and you put audio in, and it becomes compressed, and then when you decode it, you get something resembling the audio that went in. I feel like this is kind of the definition of an audio codec, I don't know. Which is highly, like, entirely designed around voice. So, it would just be silly little voice things. But the really nice thing about it is that it is so highly compressed that you literally get one value for the pitch, one value for the volume, and then 10 values, that's where the 10 in LPC-10 comes from, for the sort of filter the sound, basically. So you get, like, the formants of the voice and stuff, the things that make it sound like a voice rather than just a buzz or noise. And so if I really wanted to, I don't know if I do want to, but if I really wanted to, if I really wanted to and I was clever, I could even make a very simple speech synthesizer, because I can just directly control these 12 variables over time, and then it just makes the noise, and I don't even need pre-recorded words and sentences, even though the format is so incredibly compact that I could fit, like, a lot onto just the flash memory of an Arduino. I think you can fit like a couple of minutes of audio, which is insane. On an Uno, which is like not even got, you know, there are Arduinos with more memory than that even. Imagine hearing yook hungry late at night. That's one thing. I don't want it to just... Oh, that's so cute though. But also I don't want her to just say that in the middle of the night. So yeah, I guess she'll only speak around like the times that you interact with her. As in like, you know, after you finish interacting with her, like maybe she won't speak after a minute or two or something, you know. Mostly because I don't want to drain the batteries, but also, yeah, I also don't want to be waking people up. Have a nice luck, Stu. Streaming is basically a debuff already. Ignoring having to think about electronics. True, haven't even started the electronics yet. If you change your mind about the batteries and aren't sure how to do the charge circuitry, you could probably learn a lot referring to SparkFun's ESP32 thing schematic. Oh my god, they're as good at thinking up names as I am! Is that what they actually called it? Because this is thing. This is thing. Actually, no, it's not. This is thing 2. Colon, this time it's personal. Yeah, so the original Talkie library, the original Talkie library, I think it's from around 2000. Wait, I think it's at the top actually. Wait, 2011. Okay, never mind. Wait, yeah, 2011. Never mind. I thought it was earlier than that actually. And there's a so-called refurbished version. As you can probably see, this is like I'm messing around with this a lot and trying out different things, adding my own stuff, and you know. So I've been messing around with this code and just seeing what I can make it do in the sense of seeing what I can do to it to make it more efficient and like what is really needed, you know. And if I change things, can I make it sound better and stuff like that. So the original Talkie code, okay, maybe I should explain a bit. Okay, so the main format is like this. Every 25 milliseconds, so this is 40 FPS. So when I was showing on stream the other day where it said 25 FPS, that's actually wrong. It's 25 milliseconds and 40 FPS. Anyway, so every 40 times a second, it's kind of helps to, and it helps if you think about this as like a synthesizer, which is also the terminology used in here. There are some original comments in here. Where you'll probably see the word synthesizer used and stuff. Oh, never mind, I actually can't find any right now. I mean, it's got the word synth in the name at least. But so basically, every 25 milliseconds, the state of the synthesizer is updated. The pitch of the note that it's playing will change. The energy, which is the loudness, will change. By the way, if the pitch is 0, then that means noise, and it puts the synthesizer into a different mode where instead of reading from a so-called chirp table, it's where it like is making like a pulse over and over and over again. You know, if you make a pulse really fast, it starts sounding like a tone. That's how it gets like makes it sound like a tone. It goes from that mode into a mode where it's just randomly turning on off a bit, which is like noise. Anyway, hi Tesuke, welcome. Hi Yui as well. How are you doing? Hope you're doing alright. Don't worry, this is gonna be a short stream. I'll be available for your stream. And I already shouted you out beforehand, so you don't have to experience it now live and get more scared and worked up about it. Why chirp tables when you can have chirp trees? yeah, yeah. So yeah, I also replaced the chirp table with my own one. So I've done a bunch of this over the last 2 days, but I was doing it so late in the day that I couldn't really show anything. So this might end up just being a show and tell stream rather than working on much now I think about it. I can just demonstrate some of the stuff because I think it's pretty cool. Oh yeah, it's also worth mentioning that the I want to ask what language you're using. This is C. C dull? Oh, as opposed to C sharp. Oh my god. Yeah, true. I guess you could say that. C smooth is what I'd call it. Smooth and plain sailing. Anyway, it's also worth mentioning that so the original code was written by this person, Peter Knight. And then another person came along a few years ago, I think it's about 10 years after this was originally released, actually. No, sorry, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, it's like maybe 6 or so years after, I don't know. Maybe I should have this up, actually. You know what, one sec, let's get this up. Hold on. What's it called again? Talkie... This one. And they made what they call a refurbished version of the Talkie library. Thank you for the pants! Oh, actually they based it on a version made by someone else, which is kind of funny. That's kind of funny. So the original is the one by Peter Knight. There's a non-blocking version by Paul Stoffregen. I strongly suspect I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Anyway, thank you for the pants, Lucky. And they've made some more changes. And they made some changes, so they made such improvements to it that it can now run on an 8 megahertz thing rather than 16 megahertz CPU, which is really cool. Like really cool, because I was hoping that I'd be able to run the microcontroller at 8 megahertz instead of 16. In order to save battery, right? And so it's doing half the stuff. I think it's pronounced right? I hope so. It could be pronounced like Stoffregen or something if it's Dutch, right? I don't know. Anyway, yeah. But by the way, I did not base any of my code on this remake. All of the changes that I've been making are from the original, because I just had that already on my computer, and I started looking at the code in this version, and holy, take a quick look at this. Well, for a start, it's split into multiple things, and then when you look at this, not this one, no, where's the actual, there we are. It's a lot. Hold on, how do I get rid of this crap and make the text visible on stream? There's a lot of all these if-defs for all these different settings that they've added, and like the different types of microcontroller that they've added support for, and this is a lot. We haven't even got to the synthesis part yet, but this is all still just set up for making like the timers run at the correct frequency and stuff. Like we're still not even at the code yet for like actually playing stuff. This is all still timer setup stuff for all the different microcontrollers. We're still going. Okay, we finally got to the start of the original code here, which is where for dealing with reading the data from RAM. It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. So I based it on this, which is much smaller. Let me show you the size of the original. Hold on. Where are we? Down is programming, Arduino, libraries, Talkie. I'm gonna need myself a notepad. Okay, here's the original. Bloop. That's the entire original. There's not a single if-def in here. Oh, actually, there was a small part that I changed. I added this bit. This is also original, so there are some if-defs. But there are no if-defs to do with setting up the timer. And stuff. And yeah, so... this is beyond pre-processor macros. This is pre-processor spaghetti. Okay, I'm glad it's not just me who was overwhelmed by that. So I've been changing a bunch. Also, I've changed these numbers a little bit. These numbers, okay. Oh my god, where do I even begin? Okay, I've changed a bunch of things. These used to be 16 bits, and now they're 8-bit, which turns out to be a thing that this one did. I didn't realize that because I just got scared off by all of this stuff that I didn't even really work on that at all. Like base any of my stuff on that. But turns out I made an optimization that is the same thing that they made, which is kind of fun. And I made a few more. And this is very much focused for my use case with the long yook voice. Isn't it always fun if you have one single file containing at least 25k lines? Well, I'm building up a few myself, although a lot of them are previously commented out things that I don't need anymore, but yeah. So they used to, okay, there's a bunch of things that I've changed. Where do I even begin? There's just a bunch of silly things. Like this used to be, they used to be clamping the output volume. So this value here, U0, is the basically the waveform position, like in a waveform, if you imagine like this, the vertical position is this U0. This is what's going to be sent out to the DAC, to the speaker ultimately. And it used to range from 511 to minus 512. So that's a, what is that? That's a signed 10-bit number. But the sound was so low volume when you used that as the full range. At least with the long yook stuff, that I was like, well, why don't we make better, like, so oh, all right, one more thing I need to mention. The output is 8-bit, so they had to like effectively divide that by 4 to get it down into the 0 to 255 range and stuff. So they shifted it right by 2 to make it 8-bit instead of 10-bit. And so basically they were throwing away like 2 bits of resolution. That's like, they're quartering the available resolution compared to if I made it like 4 times. If the limit were this to begin with, if the limit was like this 256 range to begin with, rather than 1024 range, then it would sound louder, and it would be like more detailed sounding as well. So it turns out that the long yook is often the audio as it sounds when it's the long yook voice audio as it sounds when it's decoded is often quiet enough that it doesn't even clip. And when it does clip, it doesn't even sound that bad due to the low sample rate. And I guess some aspect of how it's encoded, and I don't actually know why it doesn't sound bad. I was genuinely shocked that it didn't sound bad when it was clipping. So anyway, but clipping is extremely rare, so at least in the test sound that I used, which is granted only 12 seconds long, but whatever. So anyway, so doing that means that you don't do 2-bit shifts, which is kind of nice, because in the microcontroller, the AVR microcontroller that's on an Arduino, that is what I'll be using, the instructions to shift left and right, they only shift by a single bit. So if you want to shift by 3 bits, you gotta use 3 shift instructions. At least if you don't know exactly how many times you're going to be shifting it, you need to just, the naive way is to repeat the instruction. Crazy Stewie and I were like discussing this last night, I think, and Stu had a look at how like what actually the compiler actually does if you try to shift left or right by like a number that's known in advance at compile time, and then the compiler can actually do pretty cool stuff. But I don't think it would be able to shorten a shift of 2 instructions. Like 2 instructions is already pretty small. But hey, if we don't need to shift at all, then we save 2 instructions, right? And this is going to be repeating 8,000 times a second, so it becomes more important. There were some other things here. We were shifting a bunch more than we need to, so now we're shifting by a smaller amount and blah 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 blah. Anyway, let me get to the really cool thing, which is like the real difference with between any talkie library and that's available for the Arduino and what I have here. And this was based on, well, this isn't super clean. I mean, I don't like the way some of this is repeating, but and the way I'm doing the =1 =2 blah 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 blah. Turns out it's actually faster to just set a variable to a value on the AVR than to increment by 1, if I remember rightly. Because the add instruction is, I think the add instruction, there is, what is it? I think there's like no add immediate instruction or something. So you need to load the variable that you want to add into a register and then add that register to this. So 2 operations. Whereas there is an instruction to set to an immediate value. So this would actually be 1 clock cycle and this would actually be 2, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't actually broken down the assembly of that, but based on this, that's what it seems to be. When we look at add, was it just called add? I forgot what the instruction was called. Add without carry, add with carry, add immediate to word. So this is like a 16-bit version. And these are the 8-bit versions. So there isn't like an add immediate, which is kind of funny. There is a subtract immediate, but there isn't an add immediate, which is really weird. So you'd have to load a 1 into some register and then add that register to the other thing, which is weird. I don't know. I don't know why there's a subtract immediate, but there's no add immediate. It's weird. Anyway, hi Luna, welcome. Hold on, I'm getting hot already. Ah!
Cheese.
Why? Why cheese? It's got a temperature update. It was only 23 degrees at the beginning, right? What is it now? It's only 23.5 degrees? Question mark? I don't know why it feels hotter. I think it's because of stress and stuff. I don't know. Stress. Sorry. IT crowd reference. Oh yeah. Whereas just setting it to a value is that. Anyway.
Cheese. Cheese.
You wish to hear your cheese. Oh hi FTHRD. Oh god. Okay, there might be a lot of there might be a lot of cheese. There might be a lot of cheese throwing in order to Luna, I can just play your file if you want. Ouch. I just hit my hand on the bed frame thing. Also, hi Snooze, welcome. So yeah, the big change, which was based on some Python code actually. The Python code of this is a real family pretzel, as Big C would call it. This is a real, really everything pulling from everything else and like, you know. So the Python code would have been based on one of the things originally made by either this person or the non-blocking version or the refurbished version. And then this code is based on the Python, which is based on one of those versions, which will be based on one of the others, which will be based on the original. Anyways, there's a long chain of evolution going on here, but so I didn't write all of this from scratch. This basically the format of this line is what I copied from the Python thing, and then I made the entire like I made the whole design for updating. So what is it? This code interpolates. Instead of just changing every 25 milliseconds, like snapping immediately to the new pitch, well, this lets it more smoothly change. And I am hoping that the way I've done it is fast enough for the Arduino. Maybe not at 8 megahertz, but hopefully at 16 megahertz at least. And it really does sound better in my opinion. I mean, it does sound better, but in my opinion, it's worth it. And I want to show you the difference. We can easily just force it to not interpolate. So the way the code works is, we go into this loop here, and we read some data from the file, basically. These are like bit packed, so there are some values that are just 5 bits long, and they might straddle byte boundaries and stuff. So there's a function to read bits that might span multiple bytes. I also modified this in a way that I hope makes it faster. Basically, the old one of these would always read from flash memory, which is where the data for the speech is stored, every time you call this, no matter what. And it might read from flash memory twice if the data spans 2 bytes. And I changed it to cache the value that it reads, so it could read 0 times from flash memory and 1 time at worst if it needs to get a new value. Anyway, hopefully that's faster. I'm gonna like time this on an actual Arduino. I was originally planning on doing that on this stream, but I'm realizing that I might not have time. So maybe this is gonna be a silly show and tell thing. I don't know. Hope the Luna's doing well. Welcome. Hoi hoi. And hi Duvan as well. Thank you for the pats. Hi. And pass. Thank you for the pats. I already said hi though. Okay, so it reads some things, right? And then it decides whether it should interpolate or not. Oh, wait, why was I not doing that all the time? That must have been left over from a test. Okay. So how it works is, if the voice is changing, like if in the previous frame, there was no pitch, basically. In other words, it was unvoiced, so it was like rather than so if like the voicedness of the previous frame does not match the voicedness of the current frame, that is, we're going or we're changing from one to the other, then we won't smoothly change from one to the other. And the other time when we won't smoothly change, we won't interpolate, is if we're going from silent to audible. So it's starting to talk like ah or k or something like that. We don't want that to fade in, like, you know, we don't want to make T's become not sharp, basically. And in those two situations, we won't interpolate. However, if I remove these two checks, well, now we'll never interpolate. So the way we make it not interpolate is we just set the current value of any of these things to whatever the target is. The target is what we read from the file, and normally the current value moves smoothly towards the target. But if we just set the current value to the target immediately, well, that's it. Bam, you've snapped to the new value. There's no smoothly changing. So this is pretty much what it used to sound like. Actually, I'm going to put it back exactly to what it used to sound like. Well, not exactly, because I'm not going to make it quiet like it used to be, and I'm not going to... Oh, hang on. Right, I can do this as well. 0 as well. This is an extra thing I did. Anyway, let's just run this. And there are a lot of warnings, and it's due to these... it's because of reasons. Actually, this might disappear. Nope, never mind, it made more warnings. It's mostly because of using hex values in a... No, not there. Where is it? Here, it's mostly due to using hex values in an int array, which is signed. And apparently, the official meaning of 0x something something is unsigned. So these values are copied from a... Well, they're basically 8-bit signed waveform data. So if it's above 0x80, then it's actually negative values. Or if it's 0x80 or above, it's negative values. And the compiler's like, hey, this value that actually should be above 128, you're putting it into a signed thing. So it's actually going to go negative, which is actually exactly what I want. But unfortunately, it's a warning about that. Anyway, let me show you what the audio sounds like. Also, thank you for the pad, Sikitev. Welcome, welcome. Let's read this file, which is what it just output. Use the correct sampler rate. And it sounds like this. This is with no interpolation. This is kind of very close to how it originally sounded, I think. No, not quite. Wait, what did I... Hang on a second. Which thing did I just change? Okay, I did change that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this should be what it originally sounded like. After, you know, after it's been compressed and decoded. Look at this wild DC offset here. Wild! Sorry. So this audio is going to be from, it's just a little bit of the audio that I recorded for training the Long Yook TTS voice that is used on the Ask Long Yook Redeem on my stream, which is disabled right now, but that's besides the point. So this is just little bits of me reading things. Anyway, let's see if we can make out what it is. Oh, hang on a second, hang on. Whoa, one sec. There's one thing I didn't put back. Hold on. Wait. Silence. Stop talking. Ah! Where's the noise part? There it is. I noticed that didn't sound exactly how it used to. Hi, Acetone, and hi, Devna. Welcome. Okay. Now it's back to how it used to be. Shut up! Now it's back to how it used to be. 1 channel, not 10 channels. Oh my god, can you imagine? Okay, so now it sounds like this. The pitch, there's like a slight error in the tracking of the pitch in the original. It drops an octave. Oh my god, that was almost in tune! What the hell? Thank you very much for the resub, Devnol. Gee, thank you. Hi again. I'm saying it again anyway. Also, let me give pats to the ass. Hold on. 32 months is actually ridiculous. That's actually ridiculous. But congrats! Congrats on needing your 6th bit now to represent the number of months. Dun. No, 5th. No, 6th. Yeah, 6th bit. You're 1 over what can be stored in 5 bits. Am I the only one who gets goosebumps? Not the good kind from this audio. I don't know. It's a bit much. Oh my god. Sorry, it took me a moment. A bit much. But anyway, this is like not interpolated. And if you look at it in the spectrogram, look at this. you can see it's stepping from, especially here. It's like you can see it stepping down through them because it's not interpolating, and it's also not interpolating the volume or the mouth shape, if you like, those 10 coefficients. But yeah, it's yeah. We can do better than that, although I don't know, actually know if we can on the Arduino. I don't know if it's fast enough. I still haven't tested. I want to test. Anyway, then I made a change to the chirp, which is basically the waveform that is repeated over and over and over again, like pulsed over and over again to make the voice sound. Oh, I can actually demonstrate that. If I remove the bit of the code that does the filtering, you'll just hear the repeating pulse part, and that's it. If we just like don't do this part at all. Yeah, if we just comment all that out, let me just say U0 comes from the original before it got filtered, then hopefully, wait, what? Local function definitions are illegal! What? Main local function, close, open bracket, no, closing, close bracket, wait, what? Huh? What? 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 Does that work? That does work. The fuck? We'll do it this way. There we go. Wait. Ah, I see what the problem was. It was this bit being closed. That was a very weird message. Also, sorry for squeaking so much. Yeah, I see what the problem was now. I don't need to do it this anyway. Yeah, that's a pretty awful error message. Anyway, I think if I just do this, I think we'll get it unfiltered. Let's find out. Prepare yourself for what might be an awful noise, although we'll get to see the waveform beforehand, so we'll see. Okay, it looks correct. Hey guys! Hi! Welcome! Thank you very much for the resub as well. Wow. Hi. My goodness me, a lot of stuff is happening. Hand off the keyboard, you're under arrest for code crimes. No, not the cop car. Also, holy crap, you can easily see the loudness not being interpolated. Wow, look at that. Anyway, it just sounds like this now. It's just... There's no filtering. It actually sounds kind of cool. But then I decided to change things, and I was like, well, what does the chirp originally sound like? I guess I'll do this section again because this is kind of fun, and it was very fast. So I just pasted it in a notepad, and I used the find and replace thing to change this thingy into just a space, doing the space separated. Then I slapped all of this onto a hex editor. A little something like that. Then I saved it as like a .raw file or something, which I think I actually still have saved. I do, thing.pcm. Okay, whatever, let's just save over it. We're literally just repeating what I did yesterday. And then I imported that on Audacity. And this is like one of the pulses that will be repeated. And if we import that, thing.pcm. We'll say assigned. It's so short that the heuristics are not working very well for it. And it looks a little something like this. So it's got like a harsh beginning and then like a lower frequency tail end that gradually fades away. And if you repeat it, it sounds like that. And I thought, that's kind of like, 8 kilohertz is kind of muffled, right? The sample rate is already muffled. Why are you using a sound that's like not super, that's not super not super, what's the word? Clear, kind of. So I thought, like, what if... Oh, by the way, the way that the synthesizer works is if you need a pitch higher than that, it'll just, like, crop off the end and loop like that. And if you need a sound that's lower, it'll just, like, do silence for these parts. What times do I do this? Okay, I would actually need to insert silence. Let's insert 50 samples of silence. There you go. Wait, did I just like exactly half the pitch somehow? No, I didn't. And so I decided to like make a sawtooth thingy and then like make it wrap around them. TLDR, I made my own little chirp sound and it sounds fractionally less muffled, but not very. But anyway, let me just show you what it sounds like. We'll do it before and after. Some bits sound better, some bits sound worse. Let's click the button. Wait, let me reload the... Oh, the old sound is already in here, okay. Run it? That's a PC fart, change my mind. Sure. I don't want to change your mind. I would have said it sounds more like a burp, I guess, but sure. Sure. Let's go back into this folder. 8,000. And now instead of sounding like this, it sounds like, which is just like a little bit more harsh sounding. I'll switch between them. We've got after, before. To me, this sounds less filtered than this, and it's meant to sound unfiltered at that point. And so basically, I just I've started using that as the bass instead. And if we put the filtering back, some things sound better and some things sound worse. So I might mess around with the chirp sound slightly, but let's add the filtering back. I'll filter my own chirp. Is that like tooting my own trumpet and filtering my own chirp? I can see it's playing at a disco, but like the one in Tron. I have not watched Tron actually. Why is it not doing anything? There it goes. By the way, this other window that appears with some debugging messages. I don't really need them anymore, but where's it? That's the here it is. That's Notepad. Here it is. So this one's the like with the original chirp, and this one is with my chirp. Wait, this doesn't look filtered still. Wait, why is it not filtered? What? Wait, wait, why is it still not filtered? Where's my code? There it is. Oh, I overwrite it at the very end with the original unfiltered value. Whoops. Okay, let's run it again. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, that looks like it's doing something now. So with my thing, it sounds like this. Compared to. So this is meant to be snail. She's trying to. So the original text I was reading was "yook snail too," because she like saw a snail and she's like saying that I'm a snail too. Anyway, that's not canonical, by the way. It's just something that she said. Anyway, so this I think sounds more like snail, more clearly snail. Compare it to, for a fair test, let's get in the same volume. So like this, compared to me, this almost sounds like it's saying slail or something. Compared to, I don't know, this sounds clearer to me, but anyway. But here, I think this sounds more clearly like it's saying slow compared to yeah. So I feel like this one just any time that there's meant to be an L or an N sound, it sounds like L, and then here anytime there's meant to be an L or an N sound, it sounds like N. So I'm not really sure that it's a net win, but overall I think it sounds a little less muffled. I don't know. I'll probably play around with it some more. Anyway, let's just do another side-by-side comparison. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's better or not. But it's a thing I've been playing around with. But I kind of want to show off the interpolation first. And I was a little sad after doing the interpolation at first because it didn't sound very interpolated as I expected. And I worked out why soon, and it's not because the interpolation code was not working. But now if we don't skip the interpolation all the time, we only skip it in these special cases, but we let it interpolate otherwise. Let's run that. This is approaching train station announcer levels of ineligible. Really? Unintelligible? Sheesh. That's rude. She's trying her best. I can't believe that, Marianne. The poor little long yook. Maybe more of a let-nin. A let-nin? A net-lin? A net-lin? A let-nin? A let-lin? A net-nin? Letting in? Man, I struggle to get the jokes because of the L's and N's. Okay, I was trying to work out, was it meant to be like, were you swapping the L's and the N's? A net lin? Oh, wait, a net win? Oh, okay, I get it. I just worked it out. Sorry. Long yook struggling to speak is cute. Wish I was as cute when I was struggling to speak. Anyway, look! You can immediately see the waveform is smoother and rounder, right? You see that, right? Look at these stair-step things. There are not stair-step things here. Look, it clearly is interpolating at least the volume, right? But alas, it sounds like this. So I'll just compare it to this. So this was before, and this is after. Wait. Why does it sound really? Wait. Okay, no, there we are. So some bits are. So it is smooth somewhat. Hold on. Compared to. But you can still see the stair steps in the pitch. It's not super smooth. It is smoother, but it's not super smooth. And I worked out why this is actually happening. And normal yook too. Oh, thanks. So the actual problem is not interpolation. The problem is like the accuracy of different pitches that are even possible in this system when you're running at as low a sample rate as 8 kilohertz. Because the way that you change pitch is like you lengthen or shorten that little looping chirp sound, right? But you can only lengthen or shorten it by integer amounts. So if you have a loop... Oh, hang on, I can demonstrate right here. Let me reload the loop. Hold on, let's fire up a new one. Open, thing. Yeah, this one. So if you have something that sounds like this, and well, what's the rough pitch of her? Does it sound like this? A bit lower. Yeah, that kind of pitch is where she is. So if you have something that's this pitch, and you want it to be slightly lower pitch, you can only go boop down to 1 lower. So you can't get any pitch between this and that. So you're going to get a step down from one to the other like that. Even if you're trying to smoothly change from one to the other, you're restricted to integers. And it gets worse the higher pitch you get, by the way. So if we go to very extreme values, now the steps are huge. I mean, it like tends towards infinity, right? That's just how the maths works. Audacity's gradually taking longer and longer to buffer that as I keep changing. So, I did a little thing where I was like, okay. So, this lookup table here, ignore the EPA brackets thing for a moment. Just look at the number within the brackets. These numbers are the loop lengths for the chirp. And so you've got all the high-pitched things near the beginning because they're short loop lengths, and then towards the end you have the much longer loop lengths. And Long doesn't have a deep voice. She's got a high-pitched voice. And I looked at the values that are being used, and they're like all like less than 64 even. So like, we don't need any of these. So like, what if we pretended that the period is actually, so the loop length, in other words, is actually like double the length or 4 times the length that it really is. And then like we step through it at the, that way, the interpolation. So for example, there's nothing between 18 and 19, right? But if you double them, double 18 is 36 and double 19 is 38. And there is something between 36 and 38. So the interpolation will step through 36, 37, 38. Ah, cheese! Why cheese? Hi, Xerix529 though. Welcome. And if you like, if you want to like quadruple them, then like there's nothing between 20 and 21, but there is 80, 81, 82, 83, and then 84, So the interpolation would have something to actually work with, and you'd actually be able to step through the in-between values. And then the final part of the puzzle was basically, where are we? Basically, this is always backwards. This bit runs first, so I think it's above, but it's actually below. Because it calls this, and so I had to find this first. But anyway, the final piece of the puzzle was, instead of resetting it to exactly 0, we just subtract the length of the period so that we get to keep our not quite perfectly aligned loop thingy, whatever. And then when we're looking at the chirp thing, we like divide it back down by, if we multiply it by 4 to get 4 times the actually, then we divide it down by 4 to get the correct position in the chirp table, because the chirp table is still just as small. But as I have a note here, I could make it kind of free, and we wouldn't even need to divide it back down. We wouldn't need to do this division, this bit shifting, if I just make the chirp bit table 4 times bigger as well. But anyway, this makes a huge difference. So if I put that up to 2, this means that we're going to get 4 times the accuracy. This would be like 1 times, 2 times, 4 times, 8 times, 16 times, etc. But I can't go any higher than 4 times, because by that point, if we were to go 1 step higher, we wouldn't be able to get low-pitched enough for long yook. Like we're eating away our pitch range every time we increase this, how low we can go. But anyway, now when we run this, and we go over to here, and we look at this, wait, I need to go back into this folder. And we open this, and we choose the correct thingy and the correct sample rate. And we look at it on the spectrogram. Look! There's less stair-steppiness. Look at that. The original, technically with interpolation, but there's not really enough resolution in the pitch to interpolate at all. And here, look at that. Look at it. So now, instead of sounding like this, actually, there's one where it sounds really bad, where the pitch is changing really quickly. That's probably is that one, that way. Instead of sounding like that, it sounds like this. I'm gonna play one and then the other so that you can hear that it actually is smoother. Listen. Before and after. Maybe this will be really over here as well. It's smoother. Maybe here would be really obvious because there are only 2 pitches here. No, I don't think it'd be very obvious. So yeah, it actually there's more smoothness in the pitch, and I'm happy with that. Anyway, there we are. That's basically everything I've been doing over the last couple of days, trying to make this work. Oh, there's one more thing I can show actually. Hold on. Stewie mentioned like graphs earlier, and here's one I prepared earlier. It's not appearing. Hold on. Hold on. Here's one I prepared earlier. So the way the interpolation works is kind of fun. Also, thank you for the hydration. I'm gonna hydrate. The way the hydration, not the way the hydration works. The way the interpolation works. What's this other font it's using here? Why? I'm using any font other than Arial everywhere. Whoa! I don't know what what just happened. There we are.
Oi,
What is that? Mm. Why? Why the cheese? Yeah, look, the line is going up. Thank you for the hydration, Axolotl as well. But not for the cheese. What is the world what is the world looks hex a reference to? Ah! Thank you for the posture check as well. I think I will posture check. Sorry, I think I will save the kidneys. Right after I finish explaining this, and then I'll come back, and then like I'll have to be ending stream soon anyway. But I'll do a little something afterwards. So I will save the kidneys. I will. I promise. So yeah, the way it works is every so often through the one frame of audio is 200 samples, like 200 waveform positions. Every so often through there, we move a little bit closer for all of the parameters. The pitch moves a little bit closer, the volume moves a little bit closer to what it should be, and these 10 like things that determine like mouth position effectively do as well. Move a little bit closer. And I actually split this up over 4 separate stages, just so there isn't a sudden CPU spike on every one of these steps. So we only we kind of split it up into quarters. So on the first quarter of the interpolation, we update these 3, and then these 3, and then these 3, and then these 3. That's what the splitting up with this switch case is. I'll put you into a frame. No! What does that mean anyway? You'll take a photo and like frame the photo? Wait, that's actually not too bad. Sure. Get framed, nerd! Oh no, oh my goodness. There used to be a TV program over here called You've Been Framed, which is Fail Army before the internet, basically. Well, before YouTube. And you still hear it on some, like, it's so ingrained into, like, a lot of British people's minds / culture that, there used to be this phrase where they'd say, if you send in your home videotape of a thing that we can show on our show, then we'll give you £250. And sometimes you still hear it on like clips of like British fail clips on the Fail Army or something. Fail Army is not as relevant nowadays. I film and there was a time when it was, and sometimes you'd still just randomly hear someone shout 250 quid. It's like I'm guessing that literally nobody outside this country gets the reference, but they're basically saying, yeah, you're gonna be in a program like this. They're in at 250? Yeah, they remember it being 100. I do not remember it being 100. Wow. It was 250 in the 90s already, right? Wasn't it? I'm actually not sure. I'm questioning myself now. I don't remember it being 100. I don't remember it being 250. Now I'm curious. Now I should have a look. This is where... Oh, no, never mind. So okay, so we gradually move towards the next value, like America's Funniest Home Videos TV show. I think so. I think it's basically exactly the same. Yeah, and there used to be an audience, and then it went to just the one host in a room, and there was no audience, but there was still canned laughter. And yeah, I don't even know if it still exists anymore. I kind of hope not. Anyway, So the way it works is every step through the interpolation. Oh, they did that as well? That's kind of funny. Reddit says the payout has never risen, so I think you're doing better on the memory front there. Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So that's kind of interesting, yeah. So originally it would have been like more significant. The 250 pounds would have been more significant. Okay. So every step through, we need to change how much of what is remaining. So the way the interpolation works. So let me just quickly show. I'm sorry, I'm jumping back and forth between sentences. How does one make one full coherent sentence? I don't know. Here's what the pitch is at the moment. It's not the pitch, it's the inverse of the pitch. So it's the length of the loop is. And we want it to become this, and it's currently this. So if we have to add the difference between like what it should be and what it isn't to where it is, then the bullet will know where it isn't because it knows where it is because it knows where it isn't, kind of deal, you know. But if we do this, then we only add a little bit of what's left to be added. And that's how the thing does it. This is not me making this part up. This is how the original TMS 5220 or the original TMS 5100 chip would have done it. That's the original chip, by the way, that was inside the Speak and Spell toy, and like I actually don't know if this was used in the Furby as well. I'm fairly sure the LPC, the Furby, the original Furby did use LPC for its speech, but I don't know if it used the same chip or this family of chip. I don't know. Maybe they spun their own. Might have been like on a little blob chip on the circuit board thing. Hi, Kruzbodge, which I guess is Cruise Boy. Hi. Since the 90s, we're talking like 4 times. 1,000 pounds now. Wow, holy crap. That's inflation? Sheesh. Anyway, this value here changes every time we shift a little bit. Originally, there were 8 steps. I think it was 8 steps moving towards like one value at the beginning of the interpolation and another one at the end of the interpolation. And the idea was that you'd move a small percentage of the way towards the target near the beginning of the interpolation, and you'd move a large percentage of the remaining difference by the end of the interpolation. Because at the beginning of the interpolation, the distance from the target is really big, right? So you don't want to jump really far towards the target. You want to move only a small way of the remaining distance. But by the end of the interpolation, you're nearly there. So you want to move a big chunk of the remaining distance. So that's the idea of changing this number towards the end of the interpolation, which is really cool in my opinion. And the original, why is no music going? The original changed. The original did this 8 times, right? So if you divide the 200 samples that there are in one frame by 8, you get 25. So every 25 samples, it would move a little bit closer to what it should be. But 25 is not a nice number, really, for processors, you know? It is, it is digital signals processing. Yeah, it is. It's like speech synthesis kind of, or voice synthesis. Basically a voice codec decoding thingy. But yeah, hi Haru, welcome. And what was I saying again? Oh yeah, right, so 25 is not a nice number, so I changed it because if we wanted, the way the code originally worked is you'd have to like check something modulo 25 to save us time, or you wouldn't have had to do that, but the original code was, and they were also choosing which shift to currently use. That's this value. By dividing the current sample by 25, so you gradually move through the table as you went towards the end. But like, you don't want to do division by 25 or modulo 25, which is basically implies division by 25. Not an 8-bit flipping slow CPU, right? With no dedicated division instructions. So 16 is a much nicer number to work with. So you can easily tell if it's time to if we're on like a multiple of 16 by just looking at the last 3 bits, and if they're all 1, if they're all 0, then this value is a multiple of 16. So this is one instruction to do the AND thing, you know? Cheese! Actually, it might be 2 instructions because you have to load this value into somewhere, but division would be much worse. But hi, Exiki, how are you doing? Welcome. Had one uni course on voice compression. That is so cool! I wish I could have had something like that. Although this is like very maths heavy at this point, and thankfully well, maybe it's not thankful, but I don't understand this, and I don't really need to be... I mean, it would be nice if I did understand that more. Maybe I'll be able to make some more optimizations. I don't really understand what a lattice filter is. You look this up on Wikipedia and you get a lot of information about circuits. So this is like some emulation of a circuit, I guess. Not a literal emulation of a circuit, but like something to do the same effect of filtering. So I'm not even sure. I'm not in the slightest bit sure understanding how that works and stuff. I'm not good with maths. Guitar maths, infected mushroom, yeah! I'm not doing too bad as Yuki. I hope you're doing alright as well. So yeah, so instead I just do this to tell the first time, and I made my own lookup table. Wait, sorry, this is every 8 samples, not every 6. Wait, is this correct? Yeah, this is every 8 samples, not 16. It was originally this, sorry, it was originally this, every 16. And I decided to change it, and but so that they would split it into 4 sections. Yeah, so originally this was like every 16 samples, but now it's effectively every 32 samples, basically, and every 8 we interpolate a different thing. After we've interpolated all 8, we move on to the next stage. Oh wait, no, yeah, the next stage. The next thing in the table. Anyway, so it's kind of fun. I made this little graph here or this spreadsheet, so that I could just put different values in here and see how the interpolation would go. In this example, we're starting at 0, and we want to interpolate towards 255. And just by putting different values, thank you for the pads pass. By putting different values into here, you can see how the how we would gradually like be moving towards the target and stuff. Why is there? Okay, that's why it's doing the weird thing. So if you put the same value in every single time, a large value, you're going to never quite reach the end. This curve is gradually flattening like that. But if you put a number that's too small, then you're going to move towards the end much too quickly, and it's going to be like that. And so the original was like some balance of big numbers at first, so that you don't change much, and then like some slightly smaller numbers. And this wasn't a perfectly straight line they would get, of course, but yeah, it would have been like I don't know, values a little something like this. Looks like they would have been good. We're flattening off before reaching the end there, so we gotta yeah. So it was something like this. Looks like we'd get looks like good values. It's a fairly straight line. So yeah, basically I did it like that, but then I had to change it to 32 because I was splitting it into 8 pieces and blah blah blah. So now we don't need as many stages. This is mod 16. What am I doing? I think this was... I don't know what that was. Anyway, so I found the different values that work well for that. I don't even remember what they were. They're in this table. There are 8. Oh, it's 8. We don't do anything on the first one. 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1. 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1. So that is how the interpolation goes. Anyway, I think I'm pretty much showing literally everything that I've done towards this now. Also, I have to go for the acetone. So what I want to do is I want to put this code onto the Arduino. I don't even really care about having it run like in this real-time mode. I'll just let it decode a sample, and just every time it decodes a sample, it times how long it takes. Maybe it'll turn a pin on at the beginning and turn it off at the end. I'll do like a port write rather than digital write because it's much faster that way. Let me get more accurate timing. You can do the port write in a single cycle. So then I can monitor that with an oscilloscope and see exactly how long it's taking to do this on the stages where it doesn't interpolate and the stages where it does interpolate as well. And yeah, then I'll get an idea of whether it's fast enough to do in real time on an Arduino running at 16 megahertz, and I'll be able to see if it's fast enough to do in real time on an Arduino running at 8 megahertz, because I've just got to like, I've got to like halve or double the time it takes, halve the speed, right? And that if it takes longer than the time between samples, then it's too long, and it won't be able to do it in real time. Anyway, you saw them last year. That is really cool, Tusker. I can't remember if I read that already. 16-bit fixed point math set. Yeah, it's a shame. It's
Wibble wobble woeful wobble world Borgia's banana nut bread.
Yes, Borges. It always sounds like a mispronunciation of burgers. Willful warble. Yeah, if this part could not be done in 16-bit, that'd be amazing. Because it's an 8-bit CPU, so anything that's not 8-bit is, yeah. If anyone's really good at mathematics and could could work out how to, yeah, I mean, we'd lose accuracy, obviously. Maybe we'd lose too much accuracy for even it to be intelligible at all. But if not, that'd be pretty puggies or whatever it is. Hi, Othlearend, welcome. Okay, I should probably go and save the kidneys. There's one more thing I wanted to do, which is a really quick, just like a thing, like I wanted to sketch up a quick tiny diagram to be like a really rough amplifier. Not even, I hesitate even to call it an amplifier, but just a really basic circuit for driving a speaker from an Arduino without killing the pin on the Arduino, which is kind of important, I think. I was just thinking of like using a MOSFET and a resistor and a capacitor to filter out the DC thing and the speaker itself. But I'll do that when I come back. I'm gonna go and save the kidneys. Resistors are full. I'm a little bit scared with the speaker as well, because a speaker is inductive, you know? It's a bit like a motor, because it's got a coil in it. And when you cut power to a coil, there's going to be like a voltage spike backwards. So that would be even worse for an Arduino pin than just driving like something of the same load that doesn't have a coil. Omni, stop! Okay, fine, I'm gonna save the kidneys.
Jeez. I've returned. Hello, hi. Make sure you put the resistor in the right polarity. Yeah, indeed. Cheese.
No cheese. Good speakers have a thingy that prevents voltage from flowing in the wrong direction, but I don't think a speaker would have a diode in it. Like, a speaker is an AC thing. There isn't really a... I mean, there's a wrong... You can have it, like, out of phase in the sense that one speaker moves in while the other moves out, and you might want them both to be moving in and out at the same time. You don't buy high-quality speakers, then. That's not how audio works. Okay. I don't know if you're thinking of a crossover or a capacitor or something. Well, I mean, a capacitor would be a part of the crossover thing. Also, pay attention on MLCCs. What? Pay attention on MLCCs. The capacitors, right? Pay attention on them? Oh, you mean if they're polarized? Yeah, I'd have to get one that's not polarized for this because it's, well, this is an AC application. She died on my coil till I... What? Okay, yeah, I'd have... Yeah, well, for this I'll be wanting to use one. Wait, will I be wanting to use one that's not polarized? Could have sworn I've used an electrolytic in this case before. Yeah, no, so I will be careful. Okay, so my rough idea... Hold on. I think I should be using a program that can actually simulate. One sec. MLCC is polarized. No, they're not all. They're not all. I'm using some multi-layer ceramics in my... what do you call it? I mean, ceramics in general are not polarized, and the multi-layer ceramics are... At least I've never seen them polarized. Well, maybe there are, but I'm using some in my Arduino shield thingy, the thing to let me connect the MIDI thingies, and those ones aren't polarized. Hold on, let me show the things. Hopefully you'll be able to see them in the photos. Photos. Do I have the photos on here? Man, this happened last time, didn't it? Oh wait, hang on, is it this? No, it's not. Fuck. Last time I had the same thing. I gotta find them again. Why do I not save them? Why am I so stupid? From me. Has image. In creative and dev. This is a Discord that you can join, by the way. ! Socials if you're interested. Jump. Jump. Okay, it's jumped. Here it is. Ta-da! These little things are MLCCs, and they're not polarized. This is like the worst angle to look at them from. You just see like a little piece of sweet corn, it looks like. Anyway. You're going off automobile speaker systems. I wonder if what you're thinking of has to do with the fact... Wait, no, that wouldn't even make sense either. I know like the chassis is grounded in cars, right? If they're using like, I don't know, some kind of Class D amplifier, would it just be like pulsing? Well, you'd still want to not touch it to the ground though. I don't see how a diode would help with that, I don't know. Anyway, smartest kind of know. Why am I stupid? I don't know. It's called a diode by the old guys in the shops that install them. I wonder if you're talking about like powered speakers. I'm gonna remove this and remove this and remove this, remove this. Active. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Wait, actively driven. But they need to be active themselves, right? If they need a power supply, then yeah, I can understand why they'd do that. But I'm talking about the speaker itself. Like the part that makes the noise rather than the amplifier. Well, actually, I'm talking about making a super, super horribly disgusting... simple amplifier of sorts, I guess. It's like, I hesitate to even call it an amplifier. Man. Anyway, let's fire up this instead of DibTrace, because if I use this, then I can simulate things. Maybe it has a speaker built in. Who do I know? Chassis is earth, so kind of ground, but not really. Oh, earth and ground are like synonymous, at least in over here we use the word earth to mean where you say ground for means electricity, which is kind of funny. I don't know if it's funny at all, actually. It's the words already kind of mean the same thing, right? You can dig up the earth, you can dig up the ground. Maybe it's different for things that are not AC. Mains. They have additional electricity added to the signal going into the speaker. Oh, okay, interesting, interesting. Alright, that makes sense. Yeah. It makes sense you'd want a diode in that case, yeah. That's really interesting, so wait. So it's like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I didn't even know such things existed. So it, like, I guess it would low pass the signal coming in and use that as the power supply. So basically filter the signal out from that. And then high pass the signal coming in to extract just the signal from the power. That's kind of neat. Basically just remove the DC offset. Which is something that I'm going to be needing to do in this diagram. Okay, let's see if... Does it even have a speaker? Passive components. Inductor? I mean, that is one. It's an active component. I wouldn't call it an active component. Analog? Sub-circuits. Does it not have a speaker, I wonder? I know it has like an audio output thing. But... I sort of want the what do you call it? The inductiveness of the speaker. It looks like it doesn't have one. Am I blind? Capacitor inductor, but I don't know what the inductance of the speaker that I have is. Wait. Couldn't... Hang on. I can probably measure this. With that fancy, with that fancy, I have one with wires on it. I do! I'm gonna see if the fancy little tester thingy can measure the inductance of this. Is that even like a thing? I wonder. I know so little about, but since voltage is always relative, ground and earth aren't always the same voltage. Like a local ground can be different, yeah. That's what a ground loop is, right? Where the two things are meant to both be the same voltage. Ideally, are not because they're in like physically different locations, plugged into different things. Why the induction of the speaker method? Well, I'm worried about when you turn off the speaker. Sorry. You're gonna have a voltage going to the speaker that's coming on and off, right? A current that's coming on and off. Because, okay, maybe I should mention first. The signal that's coming from the Arduino is pulse width modulated. It's not true. It's not AC. So I kind of need, as part of this, to make it AC, actually. So the signal that's coming out is PWM at around 62.5 kilohertz, I think. Hi, Docrect. Welcome. And what my general plan was to connect that to the gate of a MOSFET. So the MOSFET is then going to be switching off at very high speed, the 62 kilohertz or so. And we have like our... That is basically doing pulse width modulation at 62 kilohertz to approximate different speaker positions. And PWM? Yeah. So if we wanted like something that looks like this, well, first of all, we can't have it go negative, so it would be, our 0 volts would be like down there and our 5 volts would be up here. Approximately. So the signal that's coming out would be like 50% at this point to approximate it on and off at equal times. And then for... Oh, sorry, right. It's up to max all the time. So 50% around this region, right? I'm trying to draw this by hand is maybe the worst idea possible. 1, 2, skip a few. Once we get up to this region, it's on most of the... Oh, wait, the pulse length doesn't change. It's on almost all the time. Like this, right? This is not a good drawing. It's on most of the time, and then off just a tiny amount. And I guess it'll just be on at this point. And then as it reaches this area here, it's like on for a small amount and off for a much longer time. like that. In total, the time on and off is the same. This is the most not to scale drawing I've ever drawn. Anyway. So yeah, by the way, this is how the Raspberry Pi has its audio output as well. At least the Raspberry Pi 3. Anyway, I found that out the hard way when I just fed this unfiltered red signal into an amplifier, and it just made the most awful, weird distortion, screamy sound. Obviously I can't hear as high pitched as this signal was, but it was causing some kind of horrible aliasing distortion noise. And so I just added a capacitor basically and a resistor before it, low pass filter. And then the amplifier was fine with it. And I measured with like my multimeter, which has a frequency measurement thing, that it was like, I don't remember exactly, some number of 100 kilohertz. Even when it was silent, because it was just like pulsing on and off 50% to approximate a signal down the middle when it was not playing audio. Now we know how to make Screamo. You won't get a sound if you connect a PWM on a speaker. You need a sine wave or simulated sine wave. Oh, you'll most definitely get a sound. But, I kind of want to possibly filter it. Do I even need to filter it though? You will definitely get a sound. This is like how some amplifiers work. Isn't that just basically how a Class D amplifier works anyway? But I was planning. Ah! Why? Hi, Cat. Why? What's wrong? I just want to see if this thing can even measure this, because if it can, then I could like approximate a speaker on that little circuit simulator thingy, and then I could just build up the tiny little circuit and see what happens. But also it might not be relevant. I don't know, it might not be relevant. But I'm curious now. I'm connecting it to this tester. I want to see what it says. I've never done this before with a speaker. I'm genuinely curious. So it's a tiny little 8 ohm speaker, by the way. 0.5 watts. I'm pressing the button. Let's see what it says. Boop! .1 ohms, 0.05 millihenries. That's what it says. I don't know if this is to be trusted or not, but that's what it says. I don't know if this is a reliable reading or even a relevant reading, but 7.9 ohms, 0.04 millihenries. I just did it again between two different pins. I'm so not used to like inductance or anything at all that I don't even know what if a millihenry is like relevant at all, or if it's just like a tiny or whatever. Hey, thank you for the follow, Radhusion. One sec. Tasker, I'm gonna send you a pure rectangle right now to your speakers. I should have made that quieter. Ta-da! That's sound, and you hear it. Henry's. Yeah, that's the unit for measuring inductance. You are rectangular. Nice. I actually don't have an easy way to make PWM modulated audio on Audacity. There is a way to make like your own what's it called? There is a way that you can like enter like a code-like thing, but I don't remember. I have never properly learned how to use this. Maybe there is a thing I could type there that will make it convert audio into, like, smoothly changing audio into, well, PWM you'd want to slow the audio way down first, and then, or basically do that because your sample rate is higher. Anyway, whatever. I have to end super soon, but the basic idea that I was thinking of was using a, where can we get a port? Symbols. Where can we get a port? Where are the net ports? There we are. Let's say we have a 5V supply. Low passing is needed. It is. Although, yeah, it probably should be done. But I mean, the speaker cannot respond to the super high frequencies anyway, so like it's kind of automatically gonna low pass them. But maybe the MOSFET will not appreciate it. Why are we seeing the word ground written here? This is silly. Why are we getting this? I swear we didn't used to get this. Oh, it's set to show rather than common. Why isn't it? It's like it's remembering this. No volume, it doesn't matter much, but I saw 4 subwoofer dying on a DJ event since they clipped the signal so badly. It gave the clipped signal to the limiter, which just limits. It doesn't make a rectangle signal to a curve. Yeah. I'm talking about at 60 something kilohertz. Like a subwoofer, for example, this would be even better for a subwoofer because there's no way in hell that a subwoofer cone is gonna move at 62 kilohertz. Okay, I need a MOSFET. I actually only have like power MOSFETs, like big ass things with, as far as components go, I guess, big things with a heat sink, which I don't need for this. So I can just use like a generic symbol for a MOSFET. MOSFET N. Wait, is it enhance or depletion? Wait, what's... Wait, the difference is just that these are dashed rather than a straight line. Oh my goodness, there are some fancy ass looking MOSFETs. You can get like photosensitive MOSFETs? I didn't know that. I think that's the symbol I need. Right, the way that the MOSFET goes is like backwards or to conventional current, isn't it? So this looks like input and it's called source, but it actually goes to ground, which I think that's right? So the super basic thing would be like a pin from the Arduino. Let's label this port out. No. Yeah, let's call this. Wait, do I want out or in? In, sorry. What am I doing? Boop! Let's call it PWM. I don't really care about the refters. I do care about the value. What is it? The name. The name? The value? The value. I guess that's the name actually. And we'll show that in the middle. So this will connect to there. And then if you have a speaker, symbols, CIC, do we have a special non-American? Is there like an American speaker symbol versus a European speaker symbol? Siren, whistle, and buzzer. Oh my goodness, all these different things. Buzzer is kind of similar. Okay, let's just look at symbols. Man, imagine if this is sorted alphabetically. That'd be great. Okay, there it is. Yeah, sure. That looks like a speaker to me. We'll use that. Anyway, super naive would be like this. Da-da! However, we're gonna need some changes. First of all, we're gonna need a resistor to limit the current in. And I would have to work out that. I'm guessing this would be... I'm guessing I'd want to limit it to the 0.5 watts that this says it can handle. So I'd want to like, what is it? I'd take the voltage and wait. I'd have to, wait, so first of all I'd need to get the watts. So watts is volts times amps. So if I have the volts and I have the watts, then I could do watts divided by volts to get amps. Question mark? 0.5 divided by 5 is 0.1, and then 0.1 times 5 is... yeah, okay, yeah. Just a quick sanity check there. So we need a resistor. Oh, hang on, right. So it's 0.1 amps. And then, the voltage amps and the VIR thing. If we wanted to limit it to 0.1 amps with 5 volts, then we'd want... wait, which way around is it? Why do I never remember this? Why do I never remember this? Look, can you tell that I've never actually had a proper education for electronics or anything formal? VIR triangle. So we want resistance, so it'd be 5 volts divided by 0.1. So 50 ohms, I guess. 5 over 0.1, yes. Sorry, I have 0 confidence in my anything right now. Where's the resistor? Oh, right, it's literally the first one that's selected. What is wrong with me? Okay, so ideally this would be like 50 ohms, question mark? Although this says 8 ohms already. So maybe the 47 ohm would be okay? This is like super theoretical. This is... please nobody use this as a actual thing. I've never done this before, and it's probably wrong, and I don't want you to like ruin your stuff if you follow what I'm doing. But I'll eventually be trying it out, and I'm gonna be trying it out before I connect it to an Arduino and destroy its pin. I'll measure stuff. Anyway, this is gonna be feeding a constant 2.5 volts through this. Well, on average is PWM, right? And so when it's meant to be doing nothing, this is gonna be getting 2.5 volts constantly through it and warming up, which is not good. So we want to high pass that away, so that, yeah. So we need a capacitor to be in line with the speaker, right? Thank you for the pants. Hi, Anna Rain. Welcome, welcome. Just taking my plans into mass production? No. Holy crap, what am I reading? Eef, size B. I'm gonna use one of my own ones. If I were to use one of these little ones, I actually don't know what value I'd need for this. So I'm just picking a random value at the moment. If I wanted to make a true low-pass filter, I would need to have another resistor to discharge this to ground, right? I think that's how it works. Man, I need to be stopping soon. This is meant to be a quick sketch. Oh my god, your stream starts in 1 minute! Okay, wait, actually it's good. I should let her stream start so that I can raid into it. That's actually good. I'm not late. I'm just trying to give her a raid. I used to compute the voltages and currents in this. Oh, hi, it's checking. What, like in audio circuits? That's very cool. Why is this showing pin numbers? I don't want that. Pin numbers. Common. Get out of here. Oh, that actually looks weirder now, but... Anyway, so I'm guessing it'll be a little something like this. But probably not exactly. Yeah, no, we need something to discharge its capacitor. Otherwise, the audio is gonna... we'll hear it for a moment until the capacitor is, like, charged enough. And then once it's charged enough, it's just gonna hold its charge, right? And... not gonna let anything pass through it. Or not much, anyway. There's something missing here. If you wanted this to be like a proper filter, I'm fairly sure we'd need, like, some connection to ground through a resistor here. But I haven't memorized how low-pass RC circuits work, so... I'm fairly sure we'd need another resistor, and I'm not sure what the implications of that on... No, I don't think this would be good at all now I think about it. This would be horribly inefficient. A lot of our current would just be going down to ground, and it would... Wait, would it? Yeah. Yeah, I think we do need a resistor here to ground. Because otherwise, because this MOSFET is simply turning this circuit, like this current through this on and off, right? It's well, it's not turning on and off. Well, it's connecting it to 5 volts and then disconnecting it from 5 volts. That's the problem. I think a better thing would be like I think this is like what they would call a push-pull configuration would be the better thing. So that when this is on, this is connected to 5 volts. And when the other one is on, it's connected to ground, right? Because we need to discharge that capacitor. Thank you for the follow, Barbeck boy. Because otherwise, yeah, you turn on the thing, the speaker moves out a bit, and then the capacitor charges up and like doesn't let any more through. And then this turns off, it gets out of here. Now this capacitor is discharged, and it doesn't discharge. There's no connection to ground. I mean, obviously it's going to slowly discharge over time. But... Saku! Oh my god, Saku, you started streaming! Hi! Nice, welcome, welcome! Saku, I'm literally about to raid somebody who's doing like a DB stream, and the stream that the music I made most recently is for their stream. Anyway, not the techno anyway. Let me see what you're up to. The one before that. How was your stream, Saku? Hi. This is a VR chat friend of mine who's recently started streaming, which is really cool. Oh, hey, you're streaming VR chat as well. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I'm inserting my hand into your eye. Oh god. There we are, pat. Ah, since you're reading from VR chat, I wonder if you're actually getting out of VR at this moment and not able to hear anything. Because streaming VR is incredibly scuffed. It's the first thing that you were streaming VR? Because holy crap, streaming VR is a pain. I have big props to you if that's like the first thing that you've been streaming. Oh my goodness me. Congrats though, I hope your stream went well. Welcome everybody, hi. It's me, I'm a weird cat. If I sounded oddly familiar saying hi to Saku, it's because I know them from VR chat from before I started streaming. But I should really actually be on VR chat more so that I can actually be with people more. Stream is good? Hell yeah, congrats, nice. I'm really sorry to do this, to raid another person immediately after you've raided, but a friend of mine is doing like a so-called like a re-debut stream. She's a VTuber and she's meant to be starting like right around this time, and she invited me to be there, and she's like showing off a new model that she's got, or she will be showing off a new model that she's got, and like a new starting soon screen, and like the music is the music that I made for her, and apparently she's made an animation for it as well, and I really want to see it. So I'm gonna see if she's live, and if she is, I'll pass you on, and if she's not, I'll keep rambling for a bit longer. Oh, she's on. Okay, stop, shush, silence. Why is Twitch playing music? Shut up. That's not the music I made for her either. What the hell? I guess the animation's gonna play later or something. Okay, I'm sorry, I haven't even introduced myself, and anyway, this is not even a complete circuit. So either, to finish this off, we'll need like either a resistor down to ground to help this discharge in moments of while this is off, or we'll need another MOSFET working in the opposite way to pull the... Wait, how'd that work? I would want to like pull the... I think this would need to be like on the other side, right? Yeah, this would need to be on the other side. We'd need to have this down here, I think, if we wanted the push-pull. And the 5 volts would come straight into... Like, it would be roughly like that. The 5 volts would go down into there, and that goes down to ground. And then this one would connect this to 5 volts when it's on, and then we'd have another transistor connecting this top side to ground. Yes, both sides to ground. When this would be off. And that would force this capacitor to discharge. Wait, do we want the capacitor to discharge? I just realized that I thought I was slightly familiar with the circuit, and now I realize that what I'm actually wanting to do is the opposite. What I've done in the past is make a circuit that adds DC offset to an audio signal that's coming in, so I can measure it on an Arduino pin that doesn't want the voltage to go negative. And yeah, anyway, Saku, I'm gonna have to check out your VOD, sorry. And what I'm wanting to do here is the opposite of removing DC offset from an Arduino. Actually, the complete opposite. Okay, whatever. I'll have to do some proper research into this. I did a tiny bit before stream. As you can probably tell, it was only a tiny bit, unfortunately. Maybe I'll play around with the circuit simulator thingy. But not right now. Not right now. What I'm gonna do now is pass you on to Yuisho, who is beginning stream. Sorry to do this just after you streamed, after you raided, but I'll have to check it out. Your VOD, if you have the VODs enabled. Glad I'm too late. Yeah, I'm sorry. It was only a small stream today. I'm already a little bit overrunning, but okay. I'm stopping for now. I'm sorry. I got a bunch of stuff to try. This is mostly like a show and tell stream, I guess, to show what I did the last couple of days, and then like a plan of what I'm going to be doing, possibly, vaguely. I don't have it square in my head or even on the circuit diagram yet, as you can see. So, thank you for the pad. Okay, we're going for now. I'm sorry. Here's where we're going. We're going to this cutie. Look. She doesn't. Her avatar does not look like this. Well, I mean, it's a new avatar anyway, so it definitely doesn't look like this. But it didn't look like that even before. Birthday Strem. Look. Oh, hang on. I think the raid message should be something like, okay. So when Yuisha comes in here, she often says, "Long Yook has blessed the stream." So how about we make the raid message, and she always puts in caps, so I'm going to put this in caps as well. How about we make the raid message? Long Yook wishes you a happy birthday. There we are. How about we do that? I feel like that's probably an appropriate message. Even though her birthday I think was yesterday actually, but don't tell anyone. Anyway, so how about this for a raid message? And if you don't have access to that emote, then let me just quickly make up another one. Then you can use the worm emoji, sorry. Just the standard worm emoji. Wait, what is happening? I'm trying to type this. Wait, I can't get it in time. This emoji. Instead of my ones. Okay, that's gonna be all. Thank you for being here. Sorry for the rushed ending. Alright. Bye. I'm gonna be everyone has been so anyway. Bye. I'm gonna be wishing her a happy birthday as well. Okay, I'm just spamming this one more time. Hi 313. Also bye with 313. Also bye Saki. Also bye everyone. Bye Tasco. Ah!